In fact, Mr. Speaker, I'm reminded the right honourable gentleman probably set the rules in the first place. I'll have to fact-check that for the record. But we have made we've taken a number of steps.
Well, hello then, I do hope you're all well. Now, prepayment meters. Will vulnerable people be forced to have one still? Well, that was basically what Ed Miliband asked Grant Shapps in the House of Commons yesterday. And with the cost of living crisis, be it with British Gas or any other energy company, this energy crisis is rather unforgiving, and any energy advice is always handy, isn't it? But can you really trust OFGEM, though?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today's announcement on prepayment meters is simply not good enough. The new rules only ban forced installations for a very narrow group and does not do so for what it calls medium risk groups. And I'm reading from the document here. That includes those with Alzheimer's, clinical depression, learning difficulties, multiple sclerosis, the elderly up to age 85, the recently bereaved, and those with the youngest children. How has he allowed this to happen?
Well, I think the House recognises that we have moved very fast on prepayment meters. The rules were, Mr. Speaker, the same rules were in place when they were in power for 13 years. We're the ones, in fact, Mr. Speaker, I'm reminded the right honourable gentleman probably set the rules in the first place. I'll have to fact-check that for the record. But we have made we've taken a number of steps to relieve that pressure. I'm very pleased.
Yeah, exactly, Ed. What the hell's he on about?
Pleased to see the OFGEM announcement today, and we'll keep this under review and go further if required.
Completely hopeless answer, Mr. Speaker. There is a high-risk group for whom a ban is being put in place, and the medium-risk group, and they are leaving it to the discretion of the energy companies, which is simply not good enough. So will he now instruct the regulator to keep the forced installation ban in place until he meets the promise he made, and which is being broken today, to protect all vulnerable customers?
Well, Mr. Speaker, it's an OFGEM announcement today, which I do welcome because I asked them to go away and come to a voluntary agreement. So it's actual action which makes a difference. But Mr. Speaker, what the right honourable gentleman will need to explain is how he will deal with the fact that if you don't have some sort of measure in place to allow people to install meters in order to manage those finances, how do you then deal with all the additional cases that would end up in court? As ever, simplistic answers in a complex world that I wouldn't expect him to even start to address.
The reason why I mentioned OFGEM is because Grant Shapps always seemed to hide behind OFGEM, didn't he? Didn't really want to answer the question as well, did he? Just spouted on about a government that was long since past, and hiding behind it just seems to be small beer now, doesn't it? You're not really going to get away with it. But I have to say, what Ed Miliband brought seemed very, very dodgy in it, and very startling as well. And we all read about the scandal about the prepayments. Well, it happened a while ago. And so I wouldn't trust what Grant Shapps, or whatever he likes to call himself these days. You know, he has more names than a telephone book. So what do you guys think? Has Red Ed spotted a bit of a zinger? Or is there just nothing to it? Let me know down below. Until the next time, I shall bid you farewell and take care, my friends.